Hello friends, thanks a lot for being here today. We're going to be talking about brightening up the eyes, both in the eye makeup application but also the concealer application. Some ways to get a really wide awake, finished look so that when you've got your mask on for work or school or wherever you have to wear it, I think you'll feel really good about what's showing above the mask. It's not going to be some super dramatic look like, hey, now that it's just the eyes showing, let's like go hog wild and do false lashes and something really smoky. No, it's going to be very everyday, and it's going to be what I might call sneaky emphasis. We're going to be using some lighter, brighter methods to bring more life to the eye area, make them stand out, but not necessarily make them over the top dramatic or something that would take a long time to execute day to day. In a lot of cases, I'm keeping in mind my friends who are at work, at school every day, and do need to stay in this mask wearing mode. And I have had some requests for a full, like, wearing a mask and makeup tutorial. To be honest with you, I'm really scared about committing to a foundation-y product that's going to, without a doubt, wear under your mask, because I don't have to wear a mask that often here around the house with the kids all day, obviously. Like, I'll wear one if I go out in public somewhere. But in the times I've needed to do that, I feel like there's been such a rub-off of product onto the mask. And I really understand what some of you are telling me, like occasionally in the comments it'll come up and you'll say, you know, I'm just focusing on the eye area, or I'm just doing like my skincare all over and then the eyes, and that's it. So I get that. What I'm wearing today underneath all of this, what I already have on, is a really light product. It's my Nude Sticks Tinted Cover, because I thought, you know, I'm about to use this up. I need to just go ahead and power through, and this can earn its way into my empties bin. I love this product. It is, you know, kind of glowy. It's got a subtle lavender scent. Whenever I wear this, I do feel like my skin looks more perfected having it on. But that being said, it is light, so you're still going to want to cover certain things with concealer or whatever. But I'm just going that route today. I'm not claiming that this is like the longest wearing thing ever for a mask. That is still something that's probably going to take some experimentation, some feedback from people who are in that mask wearing mode all the time. But another thing to keep in mind is, I don't know how heavy you really want to get with your makeup under a mask, because you are, you know, just constantly breathing in there and you're generating perhaps some sweat or moisture or whatever, and you know, your skin's not really getting to breathe in the same way. So you may not really want to load your skin up with too much at all, so you don't get the side effect of maskne, as some people call it, or the, you know, the blemishes that can develop there. Today we are doing a little bit of an eye focus. So you've got whatever base product on that you want to wear, and then here's what I was gonna do. I was gonna use this product from Becca. It's the Under Eye Brightening Corrector. I have it in light to medium. I was explaining in my last video how I had used this a long time ago, and I thought, is there shimmer in there? I really believed when this product came out that it had some kind of shimmer. Now I don't see that at all, but I recently saw someone using it and it prompted me to want to try it again too. And it's so brightening. Like, I feel like it takes the caverns and puts them up like they're untouchable once you put this on, and then you put like a little concealer over it for this whole area, and it all looks really fresh and good. But then I thought, you know, for people not wanting to spend that kind of money, what about this old girl over here, this Maybelline Age Rewind Brightener? As you can see, we're nearly an empty with this one too, but this has, if you swatch both this and that together, granted these are for my skin tone, so if you're a deeper skin tone, you'd look into the deeper option in this. Might consider mixing something with this, I'm not sure. But the tones are exactly the same, only consistency-wise, this is richer and creamier, and this is a little lighter. But I've never felt like these Maybelline Instant Age Rewind things dried me out at all. I've always felt just really good about their overall look on the skin. There have been many times when I've just used this brightener shade, but I'm using it kind of there centrally on the face. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop on the skin tone shade that I wear here, which is fair. And I'm going to give myself, crank it up, I'm going to give myself some dots right out there. Again, this is a thin product, so I don't think you have to be scared of it. I don't think you need to feel like, oh my gosh, did I way overdo it? Going around the nose, and I'm also going to go on the chin. This is a look that, don't get me wrong, I think it's going to be fine whether you wear a mask or you don't wear a mask. If you're just around your house and you want a nice, like, kind of finished look to feel good about, it's gonna work even if you don't wear a mask on it. But just a little eye emphasis without being over the top is kind of my goal. So I'm just blending over all that. we're getting that brightening from the brightener shade, but we're also getting nice and even from the other shade, the skin tone shade. I think it would be cool if Maybelline came out with like a range of brightener colors, you know, like maybe 1 or 2 shades deeper than this that could kind of allow people with deeper skin tones to still benefit from a peachiness, you know, with their look. But look how brightened, and I feel like I'm pretty much just as satisfied with this as I was when I was putting the Becca on underneath. Now I would just set this a little bit. Very lightly, this is what I'm going to use. It's my Catrice. I'm very careful with this because it dumps out. The HD Baking and Setting Loose Powder. I like this because it's basically like light as air, but you still get a benefit from it. You still feel like you get kind of an evening and mattifying effect. A little on the brush, and just dab this to set, setting over my T-zone too. Up to the forehead. What this is going to do is really maintain your brightness. It's not going to deepen you up any, but it's also going to really mattify and kind of further perfect the face. Its only flaw, like I said, is that the powder really pours out of the little mesh thing that's there. I wish there was more of a stopper. Next, we're going to breeze through just a few little face steps. I know it's not the emphasis of this look, and then we'll get to finishing up the eyes. We're back on the eyes now, and I'm going to do my brows, and I want to do something that is going to lift up my brow. Let me show you a little something here. If we just really, you know, keep our brows very, I don't know, like combed down like this. It's the anti-lift, okay? If we have them a little more brushed up, there's more of a lift to the entire face, okay? So I'm going to use something that really promotes that thought. I'm going to use my Glossier Boy Brow. If you need to go in with a little more definition, you can do that before you do a nice little gel like this. It's going to help the brows stand up a bit more. You know, you can get that precise fill in if you want it, or you can also go in after this. I sometimes think of that as the backwards brow, where, you know, you've done this and then you just fill in those little, maybe perhaps small places where you need a little added pinpointed definition. But for me, on a daily basis, when I just want to breeze through the brows real fast, this can work, and everything's kind of standing up just a little bit more. I'm not really trying to press it down. You know, I'm keeping my brows kind of in control, but they're staying in a little bit more up manner. And maybe this makes them look like a little bit, I don't know, bushier, but whatever. That's my vibe. That's been my vibe since, you know, 1983. I probably came out with the unibrow. My family would literally pet the area right between my brows. And nobody suggested I did anything about it. I just kind of one day decided, listen, enough's enough. I need 2 separate independent brows on my face. Okay, so there we go. I'm feeling a lot of hold in there, but everything's a little bit up. I'm really making sure that I'm not trying to lay the brow down in any kind of way that sort of cuts into my eye space, you know? Another thing we're gonna do that is really just a daily normal thing for me is put on a little bit of eye primer. For those who may be new to my channel, try not to use too much eye primer. I really use the smallest amount. I separate it in between my 2 fingers and then I put it on each eye. And it's really a fine line, because I think when you get too much, that's when you get the texture of that product creeping into a crease or something. So you want it nice and thin, super even, all over the lid, through the crease, and up to the brow area, with emphasis on the areas in that order. So you want the most going here, up to the least on the brow bone area. Next, we're going to do some very, very simple eyeshadow. This is not eyeshadow for the purpose of impressing you with some really creative look, because I know that that's not what this is going to do. But we want to keep the emphasis of the eye look overall on the top part of the eye, not so much down in here, okay? And we want it to be more on the light side as opposed to the dark, shadowy side. I do think dark, smoky smoky looks have their place, but if we're going for eye brightening, if we're going for wide awake, just a real finished classic, easy to execute everyday kind of look, we're keeping it light. This is the kind of look you could definitely pull off with maybe a bronzer or blush, you know, face type palette if you want to multitask it that way. Today I'm going to be using this Sandstone palette from ColourPop because it's just something that's kind of new to me that I want to play with, and it's got some very basic shades to pull off this look. So first thing, I'm going to take, you know, that basic kind of medium brownish shade, light medium brown, and in this palette it's called Vortex, and I'm just going to put that in my crease. And we're just going to seek to not go too dark with our crease shade. In a full face palette you might have on hand, it might look like the bronzer shade, you know, and just pop that in your crease. I'm using my Sigma E25 brush. Use whatever you feel fits your eye shape and your eye size the best. It could be bigger than this brush, it could be smaller than this brush, but what I like about this brush, and the reason why I pick it up so often, I really like that it's pinched right here at the ferrule, and that makes the brush slightly more oblong as opposed to just a big round fluffy thing, and therefore I think it kind of fits that crease really well. But if I'm wanting to do precise stuff, if I'm just wanting to get crease color in one little area, I'm going to reach for a smaller brush. Okay, so we got that shade very easily and simply there in the crease. Now I'm going to add just a little more darkness. I'm going to go down to this shade called Grounded, totally optional. But once you get some of that shade and it shears out, I think it just looks really, really natural. Natural kind of shadowy definition is all we're going for. I'm focusing this shade even more on the outer part. So the other shade went throughout the whole crease, and this is just hanging out right out in here. It's just a matte brown, guys. You do not need this palette for this particular look. Okay, then I'm going to go for this sort of beigey shade right up here. This one looks like it has like a little bit of fine sparkle in it. That's absolutely not necessary. I would say just go for a satin or matte colored kind of creamy color. The idea here is that this is going to be kind of brightening. This is the shade called Open Road. And here, you know, it's a nice and pigmented shade. It's very opaque, and you'll see me patting that all over my lid space with a flat brush. Next up, we're going to do a little bit of brightening with something I love. It's a double-ended pencil. This is from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and there's a certain shade name that this one has. This is like the most brightening one. It has a matte end and a shimmery end. I'm going to first use this shimmery end to go right around this innermost corner. It's so great for that. See that instant light and life that you've just given that space. So whether your eyeshadow palette contains a color like that or not, doesn't matter. You got it in this pencil. I love this. And you could go well up onto your lid with that kind of shade if you want to. But that zone right in there can be very, very brightening. And then, hey, let's pop a little right up on the brow. This is great also on the Cupid's bow, blending a little bit on top of the cheek. It's a very multi-purpose pencil. Then take the matte side, and this has become kind of my new go-to in the lower inner rim. Another product that I loved was from Wet n Wild called the Ultimate Brow Highlighter. Again, a brow type product. It wasn't double-ended, but I find that these just last so well here in the lower inner rim, even better than products that have been designed to go there. So I don't know what that's about, but it just works. I just think these give off more color, maybe a little more opaque amount of product, and it just hangs around longer on my eyes. So there's that. Can you see the difference from where that area might look a little bit pinky, you know, when you wake up and you put that on there? I've never had any irritation with a product like this, and you're just so brightened now. And it's not like you put white there. You put a shade that's a little bit peachy, and that just really works, I think. Next up, I am going to do some liner. I'm not always a liner everyday kind of person. Liner can just be kind of, you know, a fussy step that we don't always like to take the time for, but it can make your eye look a lot more finished, and if you've got a liner that's easy to use, you know, it helps the process. So the Wet n Wild Breakup Proof would definitely recommend this. It's a brush tip applicator, super opaque. I'm just going to take this in a thin line all across the upper lash line. And I do feel like ultimately, when I've got this on versus when I don't, like I feel like the eye looks a little more finished, is just the word that comes to mind. Okay, so we've gone all across the upper lash line. You wouldn't have to do this. This is totally optional, but I'm going to give myself a little lift, meaning I'm going to go take the high point. So if the eye is shaped like this, I'm going to come off of the top and go straight out. Straight out like that. I'm going to go out from the corner as well to meet that. Now I've made a little bit of a lift for myself in the form of a tiny wing. I've done some bigger wings on my channel. This would be the tiny wing. Tiny but mighty. Okay, so there we go. If we just let that naturally come off of the shape of our eye and just come down, we would have a down drooping wing. But if we follow where the high point of our eye is and continue it out, then you got your wing in a good lifted place. That's just the logic that works for me. That's the method that works out, but feel free to experiment, you know. This only gets easier with practice. You know, the more you do it, it may not be the thing that instantly feels comfortable if you've never tried it before. Liquid liner can be kind of scary. It can be a little discouraging. You know, you don't feel like you have much margin for error, but once you get in the flow of it, you'll do it practically without thinking, and you'll feel like you are so reliant on the staying power that a product like this can give you. So again, we've just lined, we've followed the entire shape of our eye so you can really see how it goes here, 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 high point being right about here. Carry that line straight out. And keep in mind, you're not really going over flat terrain. There's like a crease I'm passing through there, or what feels like some kind of canyon as you're doing it and narrating it for a video. And then you're going to fill it in. And then you're going to realize this wing is bigger than that wing. I don't think camera caught this, but I added just a smidge to the outer part of that side to make us all nice and even. But that's where we're keeping the liner emphasis, above the eye. So just to review and recap, the things that have made this look brightening thus far have been our emphasis on doing the concealer paired with a really like brightening semi-corrective type step. We used two different products, but they were two, I think, really lightweight products that layer great and don't end up looking heavy on the under eye area, but they really reverse some of the darkness, so that's nice. Another key point was to lift the brow. Pay attention to the brow hairs not sinking down, or that you're not pasting them in a downward fashion, but you're actually helping to lift up those brow hairs. Another point was to focus on lighter eye makeup and keep it all happening above the eye and not getting too deep and dark into those creases, and then also using a brightener to come around your inner corner, to go in your inner rim. That really helps a ton. With eyeliner, again, keeping it above the eye. And now we're going to do some mascara. I'm first going to curl my lashes. That's imperative for me, but may not be for all y'all. I know some of you are blessed out there with lashes that just curl naturally. That's nice. I've heard stories. But I am going to give you a little tip that maybe even you will benefit from. Okay, so we've got that curl going. I'm going to take a mascara. This is just L'Oreal Lash Paradise. This is what I'm working through right now, and I do like it a lot. Look down into your mirror to apply your mascara. Place your mirror, like find your nose under the nose. Look down. You can see all your lashes from root to tip. And I want you to kind of cheat the lashes this direction, toward the nose. Okay? So gear them in that direction. They naturally want to come out this way, okay? When you gear them in this way, you know, inevitably, I think with time, they will sort of reach that outward place, but maybe not quite in the extreme that they normally would. And this kind of stretches the eye more open, I think. This is a little tip. I think this came from Mally. I remember her talking about this in different videos that she's done, and I kind of let go of the idea, but it really does work. You're just trying to steer the lash inward. It's kind of like shoot for the moon, you'll fall among the stars, or whatever they say. Like, shoot for really going inward, and then you'll end up having lashes that are really nicely open and up. And yes, I realize I got that speck on my nose. I don't know if it's a dry speck or a wet speck, so I'm gonna have to just wait it out and then flick it away. Don't you hate when it turns out to be a really wet speck and you try to flick it away and you end up with a streak? When I'm curling my lashes, I pulse the lash curler. Another tip taken from a pro, my friend David. And my tip is to not hold it down like that, but to lift it upward. So you're getting maximum curl and you're pulsing it. And you're probably holding it for about 30 seconds. Seems like a long time. Let's get rid of that. Okay, no drama there. Now again, steer your lash inward, and then we'll end up with a really nice upturned lash. I don't think I got a very good curl on this side, so we're gonna maybe do a little corrective recurl on that in a moment. Okay, I got my mascara on there, and I'm going to leave it just like this. I'm going to leave all emphasis on the upper part of the eye. I'm not even going to bother with mascara on the lower part of the eye, and honestly, all throughout the day, that's going to be one less thing I have to even, expect is going to create a problem for my look. I'm not going to be looking in the mirror thinking, okay, do I have a smudge I need to get rid of? No, it won't happen. Shouldn't happen. Could maybe still happen because sometimes mascaras do weird magical things where you've got it on the upper and somehow you end up with a smudge under your eye still. I don't know about that. While that starts to dry, and before I do my little technique where I kind of blink down on my finger and reinforce the curl, I'm going to grab one of these liquid lipsticks from my Too Faced set. I'm going to use the Hot Toddy shade. I really love all of these shades, but this one and the Caramel Apple one, whew, love. Okay, so here, if I would need to wear a mask at some point today, I know that my liquid lipstick is not going to interfere with that and transfer onto it. But for me, I'm one who, I do my makeup for me, okay? I don't do my makeup based on how many different people I think I might run into in a day. I am around my house with my kids, most days, and it's us. But I still like to do my makeup because, number one, I love the process. It's my me time. It's my, if you haven't watched the Joy of Makeup video, that'll explain all that. But I just feel better, having done it for the day. So that's why I do it. And even if I were in mask mode all day, I would probably stick on a liquid lipstick underneath. I don't know, for my own emotional well-being. So now we've got our mascara on. It's pretty well dry. And you kind of blink down onto your fingers and you reinforce the curl. Or if you're like me, if you're a straight lash girl and you really struggle, you can do one careful little boop. Not even pressing down too hard, but this makes a difference in the visibility of your lashes on your face. Give a little tiny curl. Personally, it's very subtle, but my lashes are coming more up and less out that way. So it's kind of an eye-opening, eye-stretching type of deal there. So guys, that's it for this tutorial. It's very easy. I think I'm combining probably a lot of common sense steps that you've maybe thought about before, but giving you the visual on how they all combine and, the thought of something that might be nice. If you're in mask wearing mode, and you've got things covered up, I feel like the eye still looks finished, it looks clean, it looks bright, and just kind of lifted as well. So thank you so much for your time. I hope this helps somebody out there. If you got any video requests for me, any techniques that you'd like to see broken down into very, very simple little step-by-step processes like this, let me know, and I will see you again soon. Bye.